Recording.
Hi there. I'm Treasure McKenzie. I am the director of Muskogee Bridges Out of Poverty in Muskogee, Oklahoma. And we have just completed our very first Getting Ahead virtual class. Wanted to share with you some tips and tricks that we've learned along the way, let you know how it went, and hopefully help you if you are making the decision to do Getting Ahead classes virtually. So when we first started this in March, we were kind of confused and concerned about how this was going to go. Will the investigators have smart devices that they can use? Will they have access to Wi-Fi? And so we did our interviews over Zoom, and that helped us quite a bit. We had to do some Zoom etiquette. As someone got in the class, we had to make sure that people had their cameras on and their face was centered in the frame. They weren't doing dishes or cooking a meal while they were doing the class. We had some people who had not access to Wi-Fi, so they were going to local fast food places to use and sitting in the parking lot to use their Wi-Fi in the local library. So people were being very resourceful and problem solving to do this, to have their first class, and it worked very well. Want to share with you, what is Muskogee, Oklahoma's opinion about should we do Getting Ahead classes virtually? And our answer is absolutely. We would recommend you doing virtual classes. And we did run into some challenges, and we'd like to share those with you so maybe you can learn from what we've learned. And one of the things was that they can't see the posters on the wall when they are doing the group agreements and the mental models. And typically you do those on a flip chart paper, you put them on the wall, you can see them every class, and it's much more difficult to do that when you're online. And so one of the solutions we came up with is to, when you give the investigators their workbook, also give them a 3-ring binder, and inside we put some typing paper and some loose leaf paper. So as you're going through the class and you're drawing the mental models on the screen, they can draw those along with you on their paper, and that makes it easier for them to flip back and use those for comparisons as you work through the book, and just refer to those as needed. Another thing we came across was technical difficulties. They're gonna happen. And so we found that if a co-facilitator can maybe go to the side, work with the one person to get back in the class or back online while the other facilitator continues class, it can help you save some class time by not stopping everything just to help 1 or 2 people. Of course, in the beginning, we spent quite a bit of time making sure everyone was comfortable using Zoom and logging into their class. Something else that we learned was after they read a concept in the workbook and they just completely go silent, means they might not have grasped that concept. And that's okay, but it's kind of hard to read someone's body language virtually, whereas in person, if you notice someone's not picking up on a concept, maybe at break, you could meet with them, go over that concept so they get caught up. Harder to tell online. And so if you just hear them go silent, they may not be picking up on that concept. So just maybe ask, would you like me to reword this for you? Or can I give you an example? And a lot of times they'll say, yeah, they may not want to admit that they didn't quite get it, but that's a great way to pick up on what's going on the other end. Another really great thing that we did was guest speakers. We invited community leaders to join us for the first 20 minutes of class, and right about towards the end of the workbook. So after they're learning about the importance of social capital, we invited the people like our mayor and our school superintendent to Zoom with us. And we asked our investigators to ask questions of these people. And of course, they're kind of shy at first. And so sometimes the facilitator will step in and maybe ask the first question to break the ice. And it gives the class confidence to be in the same room as an important leader in the community. And what we found was not only did our guest speakers get a whole lot out of that experience, they learned a lot, and they actually got to meet our investigators. But when the investigators were doing their community assessments, and they would go and they would call on the mayor and they say, I met you in the Bridges class, he'd say, oh yeah, I remember you, that's wonderful. And it was made them feel really special. And he was like, oh yeah, and here's some extra things. You had asked for a list of places to volunteer, and gave our investigator a list of 100 places they could volunteer in our town. And they were able to bring that information back to class with them. So it just made some very special moments for our class. And of course, we invited the special speakers to just join us anytime they wanted and know us. And it was really special for us to do that. Another thing I was really concerned about is relationships. Can relationships truly form online like they do in real life? And we have found that the answer is yes, they can. It's up to the facilitator to set the tone. Be authentic, be vulnerable. When you're introducing yourself, be as vulnerable as you're comfortable with. But just remember that you can allow intimate moments as long as there's boundaries. Everyone is struggling right now, and we're hungry for connection. And this is a great way to be able to allow that and to do that and to just help each other through. So another tip that we have is to create a journal. As a facilitator, just take notes of their hopes and their dreams and stories that they tell, especially towards the front of the class. And you might be able to bring some of those back up to solidify a concept later, such as the theory of change. You can say, oh, remember when you told the story of this and how it fits now? And so it's really fun to do that and just use it to encourage them later. And recognize growth as they're using these concepts in their real life and they're coming back and sharing that experience. Celebrate with them and say, wow, you've come a long way. You know, we do appreciations as well. When we talk about, you pick someone in the class and say, thank you for what you said tonight, that really helped me, or just what you appreciate about someone. And you would be surprised how often we hear things like, no one's ever told me I was a good person, or no one's ever encouraged me to follow my dreams before. And even if I've said what I wanted, that I wanted to own a salon when I finished class, no one's ever encouraged me to follow that and create my future story. So it's really a touching moment for the class and the facilitators. And so just remember, while the information that is in the workbook is amazing, the magic is in the discussions. Let that magic happen. So graduation, what does it look like? Different Getting Ahead communities across the nation are doing graduations differently now. Some live in a climate where they can go to a park and socially distance and still have an in-person graduation. Others, like us in Oklahoma, aren't able to do that. And so we held our graduation virtually. We asked our community leaders to send in a short little video of them saying congratulations to the class. And instead of buying a big meal for the graduate and their family, we chose to purchase fleece jackets with the Bridges logo on them and some journals for their hopes and dreams along with their certificate. So be innovative, be creative. And first of all, ask the class. They need ownership in this class as well. And so ask them what they would like to do for graduation. Let them help you decide. So we are going to do another Getting Ahead virtual class. And what would we do different? And so we've learned some things along the way. We did learn that people were doing the class on their smartphones. And smartphones tend to be kind of small, especially when you're trying to look at maybe the PowerPoint presentation that AHA Process has given us with the form sites that are embedded. And it's hard to read along. And so we are going to purchase some tablets for around $100 each and Wi-Fi hotspots and lend them to graduates to use for class nights. So we don't want technology to be the barrier that prevents someone from getting in the class if they're a perfect candidate. So we're trying to overcome those barriers. Where do you get the information to do an online Getting Ahead class? So right here is a landing page on the AHA Process website where you can go and get the Getting Ahead virtual, Getting Ahead in Spanish in virtual, and in workplace. So it's a landing page where you can get information. You can download this and use this in your classes. And if you have any questions about this, you can contact Lynn Jackson. She's the engagement manager at AHA Process. Here's her contact information. Or if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to help you. My information is on the screen. And I'd love to see and hear what you guys are doing in your communities for Getting Ahead virtual. And if you've got tips and tricks, share them with us. So that's all I've got for now. Everybody, have a great day.